This is Dan Nagy from Caffeinated Creatives with Tony Hale III. Thank you so much for coming.
Good to be here.
Yes, I'm excited. We've already talked a little bit about a lot of interesting things that I just learned about you. And I was like, whoa, that's some layers that are unraveling that I'd love to talk about.
Let's do it.
I remember, like, I always like to reminisce how I meet people. We met at a little creative gathering at a fancy hotel. I was invited by one of my friends, Maxwell Manning, who played a role in a music video. And he just texted me, hey, there's something tonight. Come with Aiden. And then we walked around, and Aiden and I saw this very spiff-looking gentleman. Like, I guess we better talk to that dude. And I still remember you were wearing a blue suit, right? I don't think you had a tie on, but blue suit
with a turtleneck on.
Black turtleneck, and a blue suit, and very cool spiff shoes. So you were very sharp, professional, and we had a very good conversation. We talked about how you liked playing antagonists.
I like playing antagonists.
Yeah, see?
Yes.
I can't believe I even remember.
Yeah, that was in 2022.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Man.
December 2022.
And we just had a good connection. You had a very professional vibe, and I have to tell you, all the times you worked together, you were not only on time, but early, and you took constructive feedback really well. You took everything seriously, but you have a very soft heart. You were very easy to work with, and I'm always like just so feel lucky to have you on set because you possess these important people skills. I think that creatives in the industry should have. So I'd love to hear your story. How did you get into the things you are into? Because you're an actor, and you just told me that you went to Georgetown and you got your master's very recently in IT. And I'm like, that is a new layer. Like, please tell me a little bit about how you got into being an actor and the IT side of things. And yeah, that's
So I got into acting by accident. I remember being in high school, man, and I really didn't know what I was good at, and when I think I was a junior at the time, my guidance counselor had asked me, well, she had told me that you need to have an elective because you don't have one. All of the electives that I wanted to take were filled up. And she said the only one I could get into was theater. And I was like, I don't really want to do theater. It's not really my thing. But I went on ahead and did it anyway, and that's when I was introduced to my theater teacher. Her name is Dr. Niambi Webster. She was the one that had taught me everything there was to know about acting, and she was the one that had encouraged me to get into it because she saw something inside of me. And when I got up in front of the class and performed, that's when I knew maybe I could like this a little bit. And so I did my first stage play. It was a full house, like so many people in there. And I was a little nervous at first, but it went away. And I just went out there and performed and got the applause and bowed. And that's when I knew maybe I do have a future in acting. And so, after I graduated high school and went to the University of Tennessee for my bachelor's, I was taking theater classes and stuff like that. And I kind of gave it a break for a while. And in 2022 was the year that I got back into it again. And so my first role was on TV One.
Whoa.
I was on this show called Payback. And it was my first time ever being on TV, my first time ever being filmed with a camera. And that's kind of where it all started. And so since then I've done I've done over probably 25 plus projects.
Wow.
And, you know, every single time things have progressed, things get bigger. And so I've done short films. I played a lot of prominent roles. I played in almost every genre. I've done commercials. I've done music videos, and things are just starting to get a lot bigger by the day. And, you know, just learning about it and just taking it, you know, just taking my time and not rushing my process and just staying humble, and everything is working out for the best. And so now a lot of people know who I am, and you know, after going viral on social media, and you know, I I don't do it for accolades or recognition at all. I feel like that just comes with it, but I do it because I love it,
Mm.
you know, and it's something that I'm proud to do because it gives me a chance to create something and be a part of something that people can resonate with. And when people are watching, um, their opinion, like what they think about it, like it matters to me. You know, when I'm on sets, I don't treat people bad. I don't treat them like they're less than, like a lot of people do. I interact with everyone. Even if you're an extra, I interact with extras. I like to tell people that are behind the scenes, like sound people, like, hey, you're doing an amazing job. So that's what I love to do. So that's how I got into acting. How I got to Georgetown, I knew that I wanted to go to grad school and get my master's.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking at different grad schools like Harvard, Yale, Princeton, because I knew I wanted to go to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And Georgetown stood out to me, and I got accepted and started studying IT and just finished in December of 2023. So I'm pretty excited to have that. So
Amazing.
mhm.
What did you study before?
I studied supply chain
Oh, wow.
at the University of Tennessee. I studied business there, and you know that was a pretty intense experience. You know, being in the business college and meeting a lot of different people. You know, I've had my ups and I've had my downs in undergrad, but a lot of what I've learned, I some of it I do use in, you know, everyday life and stuff like that. So
Awesome.
mhm.
You ready to take your first sip? 'Cause
Man,
I told you you can't have a first sip
for
until we get into the
for
episode.
those that don't know, and for some of you that do know, I am not a coffee guy, but I like Danny a lot, and I really wanted to, you know, give it a try. So I'm about to see if I really like coffee.
Cheers, my friend. Cheers.
Cheers. Mm. uh,
Not for you.
Not for me.
Not for you.
Not for me.
No problem. No
Not for
problem.
me. Oh,
It's unique experiences.
very unique experience, I will say. Yeah, it kind of wow. Wow. That's some strong stuff. You know, it kind of reminds me of Indian tea a little bit.
Huh.
It kind of reminds me of that a bit. It's so hot, it almost burned my tongue. So, yeah,
Mamma mia, ma
yeah,
che pasta.
yeah. But, whew,
It is strong. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it is
yes,
a triple shot.
yes, it is
So
strong.
if you're not a coffee drinker at all,
Mm,
it's gonna give you a little rough stir. But
most
I
definitely.
decided to go with a cold one,
Hmm.
cold brewski.
That's probably what I should have done. I probably would have liked cold better.
It does help if you use milk in it. That can help a lot tame the some of the heavy flavors, I think.
Hmm.
But I know you're not a milk drinker, so
No.
and this doesn't it's not that bad, the
Hmm.
oat milk for it.
Hmm.
Awesome. Ooh, and now we also had the chance to work on a good amount of projects
We did.
now, and that was awesome. And I think we were even thinking about having you, if that goes through, as a playing a villain. But let's see, that's still under talks. But
Hmm.
every time we worked on something, it was really fun.
Oh yeah.
We worked on one of the first things was that kind of influencer type of shoot. But
Hmm.
did we do something else? And then finally, I already knew a couple of people in the shoot because I was editing a short film then, and that tall lady who was there, she was surprised me how tall she was.
Hmm.
She was in the film that I was editing. I'm like, no way! It's like the community there is also kind of small in a sense that if you are in it, you know everybody.
Hmm.
It's kind of the same in the music business. It's interesting because in the past like couple years, I've done a lot of videos, music videos, and ads and stuff like that. And people who don't know my other side know me more as as a videographer. But weirdly, like I've been a musician, a guitarist for since I was 11,
Mm,
12. So I play seven instruments,
mm,
and I always looked up to people in musicians who are visionaries. And in the same way, in film, I like cinematographers who also kind of try to do something different, like Stanley Kubrick or Christopher Nolan is my best example. I love Christopher Nolan stuff.
Oppenheimer,
Oppenheimer, yeah, that's
absolutely
some
amazing.
cinematic experience. But my favorite was Interstellar. I
Interstellar.
loved Interstellar.
Mm,
Uh, but his stuff is always, I love it because there's something interesting always in it. Like Dunkirk had very interesting music, the whole timeline. It was interesting.
mm,
So as a kid and as a growing artist, I've
mm,
always kind of tried to wean off from what's considered popular and just see what else can I do? How else can I don't know. It's not to be make myself on purposely different, but because I always had a sense of exploration, I guess. And I think when you're an artist, musician, or something, I think it's that will help you find your own tone if you have a sense of exploration in you, I
mm.
think.
Most definitely.
And I always thought that being visual is gonna be important or is very important, especially nowadays. Like you have a song, that's not enough. What is it gonna look like? Or if you have a script, but now I'm talking about more so from a musician standpoint that you have to think very three-dimensionally. If I talk to an artist, we always have to think, what is the plan gonna be? Let's think backwards. You're releasing it there. How are you promoting it? What does it look like? What is your sonic brand or like your visual brand looking like? And what's your long form and short form content? So I got into videos because I wanted to able to also offer that and do videos for myself and just adding as many value to what I can offer as possible.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it's important. The more you know about that, the better you can also communicate that aspect if you're working with a cinematographer or actors or.
Mm,
So I think I know there are people who say, "Oh, if you know too much, you won't be good at one thing. You'll be mediocre at a lot of things," which I disagree with.
oh yeah.
I know there will be people who will disagree with me, but that's okay. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're all different people with different beliefs, but I think the more things you know, it's like with languages. The more languages you know, the more you know, the more you can do. But
Mm-hmm.
my creative process is always kind of like comes in both musical and visual thing. Like I hear something and I have like, oh, this could look like this would be cool if it did something like this.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so cool. Like let's do a split screen. Let's do this there.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to a high school in Hungary,
Mm-hmm.
and I studied jazz guitar there. We had music classes on 2 days and regular classes on 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a no, it was a 4-year-old high school where at the end of the fourth year we have to take a big final exam. Plus we have a whole week of like guitar or whatever exams and stuff. And then after that, actually no, the second year I had a teacher from who studied in Austria. He was talking about Berkeley, and I'm like, damn. All of the people that I look up to, guitar players, they went. They're like, I really want to go there. Like, I had my eyes set on going to Berkeley,
Mm-hmm.
and mostly because I knew that the people I wanted to study from are teaching there,
Mm-hmm.
and the community and more like being around the people that are good and in it. You got to surround yourself with the people who are good in what you want to be good at.
Exactly.
And so my dad told me that if I do everything I can to reach my goals, he's gonna support me.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked my ass off, practiced a lot. Like I really did nothing else, just practice guitar, learn all my theory, break everything I can, I consumed it, blah 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 blah,
Mhm.
and then I moved back to the states when I was 17, and then I auditioned to Berkeley. I stayed here for a couple years because weirdly I forgot English. That's why a lot of people, why do you have an accent? Because you were born in the states and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I weirdly forgot English completely when I was a child when I moved to Hungary,
Mhm.
and I had to relearn it. And I have a funny American accent if I want to. Hey Tony, I'm Danny. Nice to meet you.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. You know, this summer, this movie comes out.
Wow, that's a pretty good American accent. That's a
Oh,
really good one.
I always make fun of it because I always wanted to be kind of voice actor. I loved hearing accents and
Mhm.
stuff. Like I was really intrigued.
Mhm.
But anyway, so when I came back, I was still kind of shy to talk in English, and I wanted to study from guitar players. So I spent about 2 years. I lived it with my dad in Clarksville. I came always to Nashville to start with two guitar players, and then I got into Berkeley, and then I started in 2011, no 2012 summer, and it was such like a crazy experience because all of a sudden you're like in a large city, living kind of alone, not alone, but you have to reacclimate or something,
Yeah.
and uh, and it's this rush of damn, like this was my dream or this is what I wanted to do when I was freaking 14,
Mhm.
and it's also overwhelming, but great, and like try to have an idea what you want to do, but you don't know yet. So I was told that your peers are gonna be very important. Like be as busy as you can, surround yourself with people that are good at what you want to be good at. And I
Mhm.
never just wanted to be a guitarist. I wanted to be a producer. I wanted to work on the songs. I wanted to create interesting sounds
Mhm.
and just find something in my playing that is different, you know. And I'm humbled to say that I had very good teachers, very good
Mhm.
mentors, and became my friends. There, I had teachers who taught like Grammy award winning guitar players,
Mhm.
like Pat Metheny. I had his teacher, and my good friend, who became my friend, Dave Fuzinski, who I studied fretless guitar. This is a fretless guitar,
Mhm.
no frets. I studied microtonal music,
Mhm.
which is kind of like another long story that I could dwell into, but
Mhm.
it, I was just blown away how much you can learn, but also it taught me that you also have to kind of have an idea what you want to do
You
to
do.
get the best experience out of it.
Oh yeah.
Because if you learn all that stuff, now you have to figure out how can you get the return on all that investment? Because it ain't a
Mhm.
cheap school, and I wasn't on a presidential. I was lucky where I worked my ass off to get enough scholarship,
Mhm.
but it's still something you have to think. It is an investment, but how can I get the best out of it afterwards? And and I feel that's one thing. Maybe it was my fault or it was, I don't know if I should say fault, but it's, I think something that maybe artists should be taught more financial, like how to plan yourself financially, how to understand taxes, how to how to structure services, how to just systems. Like the more I'm thinking about now, the more I'm learning that depending on your systems are gonna make or break you.
Mhm.
If you have good systems on like how to find clients, how to manage your time, how to keep your like in my case, my guitar playing at pro levels and this and this,
Mhm.
that will ultimately help me towards the success that I
I agree.
have thought about.
I
You
totally
know,
agree.
I don't know if I have a question prepared for that. More like, what are your thoughts on these things?
I will say that studying business did make it a lot easier for me to navigate the movie
Mm,
business better. And it's one of the things that I have noticed about a lot of people in this industry is that they're not as business savvy as
mm,
I thought that they we're going to be. So I will say that everyone that, well, really anything that you study, whether it be music, whether it be, medicine or any type of
Hmm.
thing, everybody should have some type of knowledge of business. And I feel like that made it a lot easier for me to on how to navigate this, because at the end of the day, everything we do is business.
I agree.
And everything within the film industry is all about networking. It's all about getting out there and meeting people. You'd be surprised the amount of people who are artists and they don't like being around people, but if you're business savvy, if you understand how business works, then you're gonna be around people. You're going to put yourself out there more, but some people don't know how to do that well. So I think everyone does need that. I think everyone needs it. And I think you had touched on something earlier. Um, what you do, just make sure that you're always doing it for the right reasons,
Right.
because
Right.
there are people out there that do things, but they do them for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like people, like they want to be actors, they want to do great things, but they want to get it for recognition, they want to get it for followers, they want to get it for this and that. A lot of the big success that I've had as an actor happened by accident. And I recently had went viral on social media for a short that I did, 12 million views on TikTok,
Wow.
5 million on Facebook. And the entire time I was filming that project, I had no clue that it was going to do it. I did not know. But the entire time I did it, I gave my best performance. That's the only thing that was on my mind, was just giving a fantastic performance. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything just comes out of nowhere. So I do think that if people focus on the goal and not the money or like the recognition and all of that, I feel like things will happen a lot quicker. If people just focused on being more humble, like trusting themselves and trusting the process,
Hmm.
things would be a lot better. But not everyone thinks that way. Everyone has their reasons for wanting to do things, and
I get it.
so
It's
yeah.
a lot of mindset. Like how you're looking at what the meaning of success is. What I like to say a fitness example because I used to want to work out to look good, but then I had to shift my mindset to work out to be functional and
Hmm.
healthy,
Hmm.
and that will be a byproduct.
Hmm.
You know, or like what is even the definition of looking good? Like I had to change a lot of my mental thinking towards certain things because of what I saw on the internet and things like that.
Yeah.
And definitely fitness influencers and things like that can vein off the reality of these
Hmm.
or kind of distort, for lack of a better term. And a lot of these things that we're talking about is definitely a big mentality. And I
Oh yeah.
think where you get that mentality from our mentors, it's
Hmm.
really important that because we are kind of resembling who taught us
Exactly.
in a way, like they say the kids are resembling their parents or their teachers and
Hmm.
things like that. So somebody is kind of like not a mirror, but what you see of them is probably what they also seen in multiple generations. I don't know how true that is. It's more like a working theory,
Hmm.
but how we conduct our things is kind of based around it, or the knowledge that we retrospectively kind of filtered out, and you decide, okay, I want to conduct business this way, or I
Hmm.
want to do this. But you were saying about relationships and networking,
Hmm.
I really feel that those skills actually come first than even how good actor, how good musician, or how good that is. Because
Hmm.
you do have to show up. And I think you cannot skip the personal relationships. And I mean this kind,
Hmm.
and not the message me on Facebook and
Hmm.
things like because there's no face to face relationship.
Exactly.
And like I reach out to you because I truly want to have a connection, a relationship, a friendship, and I don't care if I'm hired to shoot your next thing or,
Hmm.
you know, I could be speaking a bit more general. Like, my goal with people in this podcast is not that I want anything, it's just genuinely
Hmm.
connecting with people. 'Cause at the end of the day, everything comes from genuinity, whatever that word
Hmm.
is. Is it even a word?
I'm trying to.
Genuinity?
It's I just say like from like a genuine,
Yes,
like
from a
yeah,
genuine place.
yeah, a genuine place.
And yeah, I lost my train of thought, but I
It's all good.
completely agree with what you're saying.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
most definitely. I believe in the way I've always seen things is that if someone is kind enough to help me, for some reason I just feel obligated to help them next. I don't know why. That's just something that I like to do. I just like because no one has to do the things that they do.
Hmm.
But see, me coming up, there weren't really a lot of people that I really just wanted to be like, or I
Hmm.
really didn't have people to really look up to.
Hmm.
I was just surrounded around a bunch of people that I never wanted to be.
You were surrounded with people that you never wanted to be.
Never wanted to be.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm
That's
saying.
interesting. How
There
was
were
that experience?
it. My way of thinking was a little different from most people. Like
Okay.
me, when I was growing up, I didn't struggle to see change. I didn't struggle to really see change. I always knew that change was going to happen. I just didn't know when.
Mm.
But a lot of people that I came up around, they were influenced by the things of the environment,
Mm.
and I was always taught never go around that, never mess with that, never associate with people who do bad things because
Mm.
when you do that, you end up in a place you don't want to be.
Mm.
You end up in jail, you end up dead. I never wanted those things. And
Mm.
so a lot of the things that my folks always instilled in me was to, do the right thing because the right thing will get you way further. And so me coming up, I just always had a different type of way of thinking. Like I thought like this at a very young age. And because I
Mm.
thought like that, it made me kind of like an outlier because like who is this guy? Because it was like this. Who's this guy thinking like this, thinking this big, thinking he more than me? Like, what is this? Because when you're talking about things that people don't understand, it's just it sounds like alien talk in a way.
Mm.
But you know, um, there were times where I've had to be strong and just have like very thick skin and just let things go. But I will say that environment, the people that you surround yourself with, it's more important than anything.
Mm.
It's very important, you know. But I'll say for me, when I was like 17 years old, I did a business program at the University of Tennessee. This was 10 years ago now. And when I did that program, it showed me a world I had never been introduced to.
Huh.
It's just what it was. I knew I wanted more, but I didn't know what more looked like. And so when I did the program, I was introduced to a lot of brilliant people,
Huh.
different kinds of food. Um, I even went into a skybox for the first time
What is that?
like a skybox. It's like a very rich way to watch a football or a basketball game.
Oh.
It's what the rich people do. Like
Oh.
they go into like a big box of
VIP
the
place?
VIP.
Oh, I've been there in Hungary.
Yes,
Yeah.
VIP place. And when I did that, that's when I knew I like this. This is what I've been wanting. This is what I've been wanting to see. And when that happened, I couldn't wait to graduate high school and get to the University of Tennessee. Like
Mm.
I couldn't wait to do it.
Interesting.
And so it just like it changed my whole perspective. But see, it's almost like that world was hidden from me. It's almost like it was hidden. And then I'm just like, why didn't I know about this? So that's how it was.
Well, that's what I liked about studying other genres or studying with people that came from different backgrounds,
Hmm.
because it's like an eye opening. Like, whoa, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know,
Hmm.
like, until I met my mentor at Berkeley, I didn't know there was such a thing as microtonality. This
Hmm.
whole other world of like tuning systems and
Hmm.
things like that. And when we played, it was just a complete other world.
Hmm.
Like, I feel you have to seek out these different things that can grow you as an actor, as a musician, as a
Hmm.
whatever you do. If you I guess the way to describe this, these outside of your bubble or something.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's the right way of looking at it,
That's
but
the right way of
that,
looking at it. There are a
but
lot of people who are not okay with getting out of their comfort zone, and that's what hinders them. That's why they don't grow. You're not really growing unless you're being uncomfortable. So,
yes, yes,
mm,
and one or me or we, I don't want to say you, but maybe us,
mm,
or yeah, the way to grow is to find what things. It's kind of like a muscle, like we
mm,
always have to overdo it a little bit, not too much,
mm,
so we don't want to overdo it. But if, oh, okay, I feel a little uncomfortable about that, but you will find the growth there,
mm.
and I think that's also kind of a mindset to grow comfortable with the
Oh
uncomfortable.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
most definitely, most
And
definitely.
yeah, definitely, I've had so much of those. But you were talking up to me that you studied
I
business, and
did.
that helped a lot.
Mm.
And what was the most important lesson that gave you the biggest change in your creative field,
In my creative field,
or in what you do, or I don't know, interpret however you want to.
I say I was taught this, and it always stays with me to this day. Right is nothing but right, and wrong is nothing but wrong. You treat people right, you go further. People that treat you right. You treat people wrong, you might not get a lot from that. You know, I was growing up. I used to have I used to have a like a pretty quick temper growing up,
Hmm.
and so the man who raised me had taught me that you can't always have a lot of hate in your heart. You can't always have a lot of anger. You can't always have a lot of hate in your heart. That stuff will follow you for a long
Mm.
time. It'll follow you for a long time, and it's not healthy. And when I did that, well, when he told me that, that's when I knew I needed to make some changes within myself. That's when I knew I needed to start looking at things differently and stop being ungrateful.
Mm.
Just stop just lashing out and stuff like that. And um, when you have someone like that in your life that's able to give you advice, that's able to talk with you and talk you down and stuff like that, it means a lot more than having money. It means a lot more than having material things, because that's what a lot of people miss. A lot of people don't have, like they don't have like someone to listen to them, to tell them right from wrong. So I feel like that's the best thing that ever happened to me, because the outside world was the part that was really getting to me a lot. Because you would think that if people really knew who you were and where you came from, they would treat you differently. But that's not always the case.
Mm.
It's not always the case in a lot of ways. You get into this outside world. The only thing that's in your mind is what you were taught inside of your household.
Mm-hmm.
And you're surrounding yourself around people that come from many different backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
many different places. And like, how does that correlate? Like, how do you make that work? And I would say that's one of the things that helped me creatively, like the experiences, the things I've seen. I put all of that into my art. And you mentioned something about the creative process, like how do you go about that? When I act, I always act with a lot of emotion, and I act based off of the experiences that I've had.
Mm.
You know, when there's a role that I'm very passionate about, I do a lot of things to prepare for it. I research, I listen to them, I find stuff about them. If they got some recordings, I'll listen to those too. You know, I'm just always taking things to a whole new level when it comes to my acting. I always do that. And so those experiences and things I do, and things that I've done and seen, they always come out in the performance, and that's what makes it so great. That's what makes it so memorable. So I look at acting in front of a camera. It's kind of like a therapy type of thing for me.
Mm.
It's kind of therapeutic in a way. And when I hear people say like that was absolutely amazing, like I would be surprised if you didn't if you never became a superstar. I'd be very surprised when I hear things like that. That lets me know like I'm doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
I need to keep pushing. I need to keep going. And so I would say just, listening to things like right is nothing but right and wrong is nothing but wrong. And just like experiencing things in life helped me a lot, not only creatively, but personally as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow,
mm,
that was a beautiful answer.
mm,
Felt like I have to take a moment there. I'd love to show clips in this about your acting if it's possible.
most definitely.
If not, link it in the description or something.
Mm.
I could definitely see that storytelling in the video that we're
Oh,
doing.
yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
I actually was gonna ask about your process,
Mm.
but you already kind of answered it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
liked how you connected it with your other topic
Mm.
and kind of came full circle in a way.
Mm.
So I really like that.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely.
I was gonna comment on something, but now I forgot it. Oh yeah. Who?
It's all good. Take your
Oh
time.
no.
Take your time.
I feel like I should take notes or something, but yeah. Um. Do you have any actors that you look up to?
I always looked up to Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Will Smith was the only actor I looked up to. As a kid, um, I remember what this is like 2003, 2004. I was
Mm-hmm.
like 6, 7 at that time, and I remember watching iRobot. I remember watching iRobot, and then I saw him, and I was like, man, how do they do this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how does this work? How do they do this? And I'm just like, when I grow up, I want to be an actor.
So he was an inspiration.
He was an inspiration
No
to me. Like
way.
he was literally an inspiration for me. Like I knew that when I grew up, I wanted to do something acting wise, but I didn't know how to get into that because in my environment, it was all about just sports and stuff.
Hmm.
No one really cared about creatives. It was just all about basketball or football, and I didn't want to do any of
So
that.
you were the first creative in your family.
Yeah,
How did
I
you
believe
How
so.
did you feel about that? How um what was your support like towards what you wanted to um pursue?
That's a tough one because support kind of varied.
Mm.
Like in my family, um, status quo was a big thing.
What does that mean?
Status quo is kind of like, just going with societal norms.
Mm.
You know, so um, my family loved me to death. Like they loved me and were there for a lot of and were there in a lot of different ways. But the only thing is that when you do something different, like acting or you want to go to college or something like that, it's different. And you can't really blame most families for like not being the support that you want them to be because it's a lot of things most families don't understand, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's not really their fault. But you know, I remember doing a couple of stage plays. Like my mom was at my first stage performance,
Mm.
and that's when I knew I just couldn't mess up.
Mm.
I knew I couldn't mess up. I knew I had to be on point. So my family definitely supported me in a lot of ways that they knew that they could.
Mm.
Like and they were there for a lot of things. So as far as acting, I mean, like everyone had their own lives and things that they had to do. So not everyone could support me in a way that I feel like they probably wanted to.
Mhm.
But I get a lot of support today for a lot of the stuff I do. Like my family watches my stuff. They have comments on things. They show other people.
That's awesome.
Like they're always excited to, you know, see me,
That's
see me on different
awesome.
things and all that. So
I think that's important.
yeah.
To feel also the emotional support you get, and to
Hmm.
look for these clues. Like I remember what I was thinking is you were you were you get these little clues that gave you an even that gave you like, yes, I'm on the right path. Like
Hmm.
when people tell you that the good comments, or I would be surprised if you don't make it. Like,
Hmm.
and you're like, that's everything that I get into. Like I always get into something super hyper,
Hmm.
but I always look for these mini clues of how I can improve. Am I in the right direction,
All the time.
and things like that. And even before I make some kind of an investment, a larger investment in something, I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I want to achieve this. Like it's excuse me, it's not this there, but it's like a step,
Hmm.
and if I do this and I reach this, that will help me get there.
Hmm.
But again, I don't want to overthink this part.
Exactly.
Just walking the necessary steps to improve in whatever realm I'm in, either
Exactly.
in filming, weddings, because I got into wedding videography last year, and
Hmm.
I learned that I love it because it's real emotion, capturing something that people will look for 20 plus years, and then you're part of like their family for like a day.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I always, when I see these like moments, I'm like, oh my God, like I love it. So that's another thing I got into.
Hmm.
But I liked, I liked hearing that because I very much um, have that similarity also. And I think that's a very good way of looking at that. Um, in my upbringing, I, uh, I have ADHD, so
Hmm.
I have a lot of also what they then consider like learning disabilities.
Hmm.
Dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and all these thises, and and they wanted to put me in special schools on medication, things like because I was always running around doing stuff,
Hmm.
you know. And but that kind of got more so solidified in music when I got into guitar, and one side of the family were very hesitant. They wanted me to do something that's stable because obviously, like, when people don't know much about it, they see what they see just like the surface things that artists equal they're struggling, which
They they start comparing your life to someone else's.
yes, which isn't what I've learned and took me a long time is to just stop looking at yourself and comparing it to another person
Hmm.
who hasn't made it or has made it because their journey isn't the same as yours. What got them there, you're not walking that path.
Hmm.
And you have to just do your thing and get after it. There's nothing better to say it. But find the right people and get the necessary knowledge, skills, and things like that.
Hmm.
But I had to fight through a lot of negative emotions and go against a lot of people's thoughts,
Hmm.
sayings, to and even separate myself physically so that I don't hear those things. Because as we talked about earlier,
Hmm.
who you surround yourself is very important.
Hmm.
And if you're not in a place that helps you, that promotes what you're doing, then that can also kind of push that down.
Hmm.
I think.
Oh,
So
it can.
that like it was of course difficult, but my dad was very he was like, if you do this, I will. He just wanted to see my passion and wanted to see that I'm doing the work, which I think is very understandable. Like,
Hmm.
if I don't do this, then why, like, I can't half-ass it.
Hmm.
I have to do the work, I have to commit, I have to have plans and things like that,
Hmm.
you know. So, yeah, I agree with all of these things. I think that's a very common thing that I think most of the people who are successful have to deal with, or people who really take these things seriously.
Oh yeah, most
You
definitely.
know, and do you, by any chance, do you have like day routine, or how you like to have your day,
Oh yeah,
or do you
most
have to have
definitely.
certain specific ways, or
Well,
what is your day looking like, Tony?
well, I wake up every morning. You know, I get myself together. I eat breakfast.
What's
Uh,
your breakfast like?
it depends on what I'm feeling. Like I eat like the brown eggs, like the whole grain
Uh-huh.
eggs and stuff like that. Turkey. Sometimes I'll throw some grain bread in there at times. Like I'll do that. I love to work out a lot. I do that all the time.
Mm,
I love to run. Sometimes I'll run 4 miles.
nice.
I love to lift.
Nice.
I
I
love
seen your videos.
yes,
I'm like,
yes.
damn, you're going for it. Amazing.
I love to go to the gym. And believe it or not, I used to be a real scrawny guy.
Huh.
I used to be a scrawny guy when I was younger. I used to be a chubby kid too. And so I started losing that weight at one point. I remember my great granddad was so worried. He thought he thought I was doing something to lose weight, but I was really just losing the weight then. I love to do that. Sometimes I like to cut on like the news to see what's going on in the
Mm,
business world. I don't really watch Fox and all that stuff there because
mm,
they don't talk about anything positive.
mm,
So yeah, I love to do that. Sometimes I'll go out to some places, you know, maybe go to the mall and maybe browse around and stuff like that. And yeah, and a lot of times I kick it with like friends and stuff like that. I'll go out on Broadway when I feel like it.
mhm.
Um, and yeah, that's pretty much how things are. I'll play video games. Sometimes I'll do some traveling to different places and stuff
Mhm.
like that, man. And yeah, that's pretty much a lot of the things that I like to do. So mm,
Awesome.
yeah.
I'm very similar in a lot of those things.
Mm,
I love fitness. I got into it very much after college,
mm.
as I was working so much. I had a very crappy idea of what nutrition is like.
Right.
That's another thing that I think needs to be more talked about is nutrition. But
Most
a
definitely.
lot of times nowadays you can't really talk about it because it's considered like negative or something.
You know, it's so wild because I didn't know the importance of eating the right thing until I took nutrition in college. And there was a lot of things I did not know.
Hmm.
I did not know that this amount of sugar was bad. I didn't know that vitamin K could do this to someone. I didn't know that too much vitamin D was a bad thing.
Hmm.
You don't know what you don't know. And
True.
so when I learned that, that's when I started taking things seriously. I started researching and understanding the importance of eating the right thing. And,
Hmm.
you know, so far I've been doing a pretty good job at that. So I definitely get it.
Yeah. So I was in that stage of learning about that after school.
Mhm.
More so, my cousin looked at me and said, "What happened to you?" I got a little bigger guy because
Mhm.
I used to be little, and then, I mean, scrawny, I guess,
Mhm.
and um, then I always was just a bigger kid, and I always thought that I guess I will just never be, skinnier or more fit,
Mhm.
which was a bad mindset
Mhm.
because knowledge is the only thing, and action, the right action, can negate that. And then after that, I spent 2 years just working out, and I had a mindset. And it was not a good mindset. I think I had not I think. I know I had this. If I look good, that will equal to happiness, but that was not the right thing.
Mhm.
It even when I was 150 pound, 11% body fat, I still, when I looked at myself, I saw my old fat version, and I'm like, okay, that has to change. So look, after that, there was a mindset change
Mhm.
where what made me think, okay, now this range I'm okay with as long as I feel good and I'm healthy. Like I don't care if I'm a little bit chunkier, but now I do feel a little bit more over what I prefer, but I need to make those adjustments myself
Mhm.
because then I was very much overworking. I would spend 3 hours at the gym doing jumping rope for an hour, then lifting for 2 hours, and going out a run. That's over. That's why I messed up my knee,
Mhm.
tore my meniscus deep 3 places, and I was crazy.
Mm.
I loved it, but I still love it. But I think for me, I have to learn or constantly remind myself to balance everything,
Oh yeah.
balance working out, eating well. Because my problem, oh, well, I don't want to say problem, but I love eating like different sorts of food,
Mhm.
cooking. That's probably one of the reasons why I overworked out.
Right, right,
Negate that, but you know what they say: you can't work out, you can't outrun a diet or something.
right.
So so that was my kind of little journey on getting into working out,
Oh
and
yeah.
I wanted to get into competing and things like that. But that kind of, I think it weaned me off a little bit of my other goals.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm back at it, and I'm very happy with all of these things. I'm excited about putting this out and do more music, do more shooting, and
Mhm.
connecting with people. So I think it is a process. It is okay not to know what your best like day is looking like, but
Mhm.
you have to constantly try things to then know what that day will look like.
Mhm.
If you know what I mean, like
Oh yeah.
what is my balance gonna look like, and kind of know it's gonna kind of shift here and there.
Mhm.
It might not be the perfect, but
Oh yeah. I totally understand. I
yeah.
totally get it because at one point I was not motivated to work out because I didn't feel like I knew what I was doing.
Mm.
So that's when I hired my first trainer. Shout out to D Bowder. He's the one that gets me right. And so just my trainer really transformed me and really helped me, feel very good in my body a lot. So um like you said, we're not gonna always know, but there are people out there that can really help us
Yeah.
get there. So mm,
And it's important to find that right person. And one of the things for sure, I don't like spending money if it doesn't go to if it's not giving me the return I'm looking for.
exactly.
If I get something, I'm gonna take a lot of research,
Hmm.
make sure that my investment is gonna be good. You know, because I hate like if I pay for membership and I don't go, I feel like it's a wasted money.
Hmm.
Or if I pay for somebody that doesn't know half as much as I know, then
Hmm.
what? Why did I do that?
Exactly.
I think budgeting again there comes, or knowing these things will come in handy.
I agree.
What are future things that you're looking forward to do?
Oh man. Oh man, I love when people ask me that question because um my life as an actor right now is extremely crazy,
Hmm.
extremely busy and extremely crazy. And there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to that I'm not even really allowed to really speak on.
Okay, no problem.
But I will say that I'm looking forward to people seeing a lot of things that I've worked
Hmm.
on. Like I'm looking forward to people seeing Allison's List. It's a short that I wrapped up during my beginning days
Hmm.
of TV and film. I'm very excited for people to see that one. We wrapped it up in 2022.
Oh wow.
I'm very excited for people to see the voicemail.
Hmm.
It's a big horror film I wrapped up last October, and it should be on national TV
Whoa,
sometimes this year.
Tony,
So
dang.
I'm looking forward to stepping into the future when it comes to that sequel and series and stuff like that, and I'm looking forward to people seeing
Hmm.
probably one of my best performances as an actor. I
Whoa.
played it was a short that I wrapped up in January, and let's see, I played prominent a very prominent character, Charles Mason. He was a man who founded one of the largest churches in the United States at this time. And he was born in 1866, died in 1961. And I had the honor and pleasure of portraying him and telling some of his story.
Oh wow.
And it was, I originally auditioned to play his best friend, but they wanted me to play
Huh.
him. They wanted me to play the lead, and it was a lot I did. I'm saying I had to immerse myself into that time. I had to, do a lot of research, listen to his sermons, and learn a lot about him.
What
I
about
even
the way he talks?
I did. I got that. I got that down pat.
How does he talk?
So
How
when
how? And I'm sorry because I'm sorry to cut you off.
you're fine.
I'm thinking, what is the research that it takes for actors, for you in this case,
Hmm.
to tr- to get to the point where you replicate their voice or their accent or even the palette that they use to talk?
Great question. I had to listen to his sermons because that was the only way I could get a sense of his voice. Like I listened to his sermons and then I understood, certain ways that he pronounced words. Like he would say God differently than most people. He would he would have like this type of demeanor about himself. He was a type of guy that didn't like to sit at the head of a table. That was in my mind the entire time I played him.
Wow.
He liked to pray under his bed a lot, and he was just a different type of man, a different man, a very modest man. Didn't like to curse, wasn't really a mean guy, and that was the thing I had to keep in my mind, And he's from Memphis, Tennessee,
Oh wow.
which is where I'm from.
Oh wow.
There's a statue of this guy.
Oh wow.
So I mean, I knew that I had to bring it for him, and I can't wait for people to see it. The trailer should be dropping either next week or the week after soon.
Okay.
So
For folks watching this, it's probably last month it was out.
yeah,
This will be out a little bit.
probably so.
Yeah.
It's shout out to Edward Hearns for allowing me to be a part of the project, and a huge thank you to Toby Ellison, the director of the film. We collaborated and we made something amazing. I can't wait for people to see it and experience it because even though it was just a short, I've done a lot of features and a lot of work, but that's the one that I can't wait for people to see.
I'm looking forward to see it.
So I can't wait for people to see that one.
I think you were in a maybe in a short that I nearly scored music to.
Mhm.
Weren't you in a Star Wars
Oh,
type of
yes,
thing?
yes, that
Is that
that
something that you can mention?
that's already out.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
was
out now.
supposed to do music for that, but
Mhm.
there was a very short deadline, and we were really busy,
Yeah,
so they had to go with a different idea there.
yeah,
I wish I could have because it was really exciting, but
mhm,
usually for these projects, I do prefer that there's a little bit more time because there's a lot that goes into it from
yeah,
our end.
yeah.
Custom scoring is not like
It's
you
not
know,
easy. Yeah,
you tempo map everything. You find like sound kind of palettes that will fit into it, sound design, and of
mhm,
course the mixing. But thank you so much for mentioning that. I'm very excited to see the trailer.
mhm.
I'm excited to see your portrayal of that character.
You and me both.
You know,
You and me both.
that's crazy.
Yeah, man.
You know.
I feel like it's the start of something new moving forward. Like I
Hmm.
love playing prominent characters, and I don't know who's gonna see it in like a festival or
Hmm.
whatnot, because that's where it's gonna be planned and stuff. And I don't know. I just feel like something could come from this.
Hmm.
I don't know what, but I think people are gonna love it a lot. So
I'm excited.
mhm,
So I'd love to have these links if they're out before this. Anything that you'd like to share, I can put them in the description. And
mhm,
then if you have places where people can follow your work and
most
things like
definitely,
that, definitely, I'd love you to give it to me and include it in the video.
I can do that.
I'd love to have that. And I always loved, and if there's anything that would I know will definitely fit you, you will be the first person I'll call on for
Appreciate
sure.
that. I
I
appreciate
am,
that.
if for sure.
Mhm,
Yeah, there's so many other questions. I feel like because I'm not trying to make this like a 2 hour thing,
mhm,
but I am hoping that we can make part two or something in the future.
definitely.
Um, we touched on a lot of things, a lot of introspective things,
Mhm,
a little bit about the industry. I always love talking about deep topics and like really the bare bone things that makes us who we are
mhm,
because at the end that will also help us connect more, and share our experiences in both the creative field and
mhm.
the professional field. whatnot.
Mhm,
you know, oh man, is there
mhm,
anything you'd love to share? Something.
mhm. Most definitely. To all new and aspiring actors, or really anyone that's out there trying to do anything to better their life, just trust your process and just take things day by day. Don't rush things. Don't do it for just money and recognition or any other accolades. All that'll follow as long as you trust the process, trust yourself, be patient, and things will come. My first role, I was paid $75 for it. That was my first role, and it was the start of something new. You know, um, some things starting off you might not get paid for. That is okay. You got to start somewhere. No opportunity is so small that you should ignore it. Just take it day by day, trust your process, get a reel together, get a resume together, and just go from there. I started from here, and I'm just on my way to here now. So um, stay humble, stay prayed up, and just be the best you. So
That is a beautiful message.
mhm,
That I think works in the creative field.
mhm.
I'm gonna rewatch it when I'm having a depressed day.
Yeah, most
What?
definitely, most
Yeah,
definitely. But yeah,
and
stay tuned for a lot more, man.
awesome.
I can't wait for people to see what's gonna happen next. Because now, I don't really talk about it a lot, but things are definitely gonna be moving in a very different direction
That's
as an
awesome.
after soon. So
I really want every good things to come because I feel you work hard
mhm,
to get it. Like I
mhm,
don't want to say that you deserve it because that sounds like it's a given thing, but
mhm,
you are working and you're doing everything you can to reach what you want.
mhm.
And I think that takes hard work and
Yes,
it's not a given thing.
no,
And it's not like a gift. It's not something. It's utilizing what we're passionate about and putting all of our hard work to achieve what we feel we're called for,
most definitely.
if you know what I mean.
I totally agree.
One thing I've had to learn and keep having to kind of practice it is also saying no, knowing what's something that doesn't fit me or fit my needs, or self advocating.
Hmm.
What what is your kind of experience in that realm? Have you had to say no to certain gigs?
Yes, I
And
have
how
had
do
to say
you
no.
know if that's the choice that you should do?
If it's a role where I feel like I can't portray to the best of my ability, I won't play it. Because if I play a role, even if there's money involved,
Hmm.
like if I play a role and I feel like I can't portray it the
Hmm.
right way, then I don't think I should do that to the production or myself.
I think that's a very honest way of looking
So
at it.
it's just like I turn down roles
Hmm.
all the time, because I just feel like I'm not the one. I'm
Hmm.
not the one to do it. So um, that's just, and that's not like my ego or like arrogance or anything. Like that's just the artist inside of me.
Hmm.
So I mean, because at the end of the day, everything I do, it has to have meaning to it.
Hmm.
It has to be meaningful. Because when people watch this, I want like it. It has to be good.
Hmm.
Because when I'm doing anything, I got the viewer in mind.
Hmm.
Okay, what are my viewers gonna think? So it's just if I can't portray it, if I can't do it, then I won't play it. Then that means it's for someone else. So
Earlier today, we talked about like comparing to
yes.
others and things like that. An
Mm-hmm.
interesting mindset that I thought about recently. Like competing in the business
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. I was thinking, well, maybe I'm not competing with anybody. And listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I explain what I do and I continuously showcase what I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And if I am the right fit, then I'm the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
If the other person's right fit, it's not that they're a competition. It's just they may have what the other person needs, which aligns with their needs and their wants. but ultimately, if I look at it as a non-competition, I'm more focusing on how I can be, how I can offer a value with what I do to the
Mhm.
person. If that's the fit, then it's a yes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly
Yeah.
what you mean.
Does it make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to give you my point of view
Okay.
on competition, and I'm saying this in the most humblest way
Okay.
possible. I don't look at anyone as competition because I don't look at anyone as a threat.
Mm.
I'm confident in my own acting ability. I'm confident to the point to where I know that I'm great at what I do. I don't have to feel threatened by other actors or other people. That's why I always send gigs to other actors. I
Mm.
always send other opportunities to other actors. And that's me saying like, hey, you may be a great fit for this opportunity too. Why don't you audition? As an actor, I'm confident in my ability, and I'm confident enough to know to where, like Tony, you don't have to be afraid of any other actors. Like you're amazing at what you do. You're bad at what you do. So why feel threatened? You don't have any competition. Like and that's not to be like arrogant or just like, oh, I don't have competition because no one can compete with me. It's not like that at
No,
all.
I get it.
Yeah,
I totally understand what you
so
mean. And I think between the two of us, I think you even explained it better than I did, or took it to the next level. I don't know.
yeah, so
But I get it, because since I started doing wedding videography, I'm part of like groups. And whenever somebody's looking for a wedding videographer, like right off the bat, like 100 people get onto it.
mhm,
And I know that they're all very good.
mhm,
Like if I put myself there, just another person that can do something their way.
mhm,
So the way I look at it is, if somebody finds somebody that they have a good communication with,
mhm,
they have a good vibe, then that's their fit.
mhm,
Like you don't have to look for other people.
mhm,
Like if I talk to somebody, I try to say, let's talk, let's see if we're a good fit, if you like my style or like the way I would do it, then we're a good fit.
mhm,
If not, not. Because
mhm,
I think that mindset, at least for me, makes sense. And
mhm,
if I take out the mindset of neediness, or I need this gig,
mhm,
or I need this because of this, what I've learned, that the more time I spend on trying to get something,
mhm.
the less time I will have to chase another potential. No, I don't want to use chase. The less time I will have to find something that might be a better fit.
Exactly.
You know,
You know.
and the sooner I can kind of filter that and understand it, because that happened to me last time.
Mhm.
I nearly got a gig, but they didn't confirm it, so I already got another gig. And then they're like, well, but I wasn't booked. I got to be booked.
Mhm.
And then I don't know if that was the example.
Mhm. You
But
you know, and that's another thing. Like I always tell people this, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't get booked for.
huh,
There's a lot of stuff I don't get. Like I tell people that all the time. Like I don't want people to think that like, oh, like you do this, you do that, you get booked a lot, you've done. There's a lot of stuff I don't get, and I don't get upset about it
mm,
because there's always another opportunity. Always another opportunity. There's always ways to get better. And the things that I have gotten,
mhm,
they were meant for me, and
mhm.
I performed them to the best of my ability. It's just one of them things where you have to have thick skin. Just because you don't get casted for something doesn't mean you're bad. It's just not for you.
True. And that's where that separation comes.
Mhm.
And were you always like that? Were you always
I
able
wasn't
to?
always like that.
How did you do that? How did you separate it? Or it's just like, that's not me. That doesn't mean that I'm bad.
I will say in the beginning when I was trying to get gigs, it was kind of getting to me a little bit because it made me feel like I was a little bit bad. But as I progressed and I looked at my resume and I looked at the things I've done, there really, like, after all of that happened, that let me know that I did a really good job at trusting my process.
Mm,
I did a really good job at that. And that let me know, like, you know, if you don't get picked for something, you don't have to feel bad about that. Like, look at what you've done.
hmm
Look at your process. look at all the like look at how you have like trusted yourself.
Mm,
You know, people are either gonna see it or they're not.
mm,
And if they don't see you, I mean, it's kind of their loss in a way.
mm-hmm,
But if they do, then that means that they understand. For the role of Charles, I auditioned for the best friend, you
mm-hmm,
know, and I had no clue that they were even going to give me a call back
mm,
or email me or anything. The director was trying to get in touch with me the whole time, the entire time. He didn't have a number on me,
oh,
but he had my email.
mm-hmm,
And that's when we talked. And he was like, man, when I saw your photos, when I saw your resume, I just knew. Like I just knew off back that you were the real deal.
oh, wow.
And so, you know, along the way, they wanted me to play the lead part of Charles. And, you know, everyone, after looking at the rough cut and looking at everything, like they were like, we are glad that we got you to do it, you know, and no one else, because they knew that um I do research and I know how to like dive deep into the character. See, it's things like that. Those are the people that you pay attention to.
Mm,
Those are the people that you focus on. The ones that don't see it, don't look at. Well, I'm not saying like don't. I'm not saying just completely
just,
count them out,
mm,
like disregard them.
mm-hmm,
They probably think you're amazing. You're probably just not the one for the role, and
mm.
that's how I always had to think about it. So,
I see what you mean because I was an extra, but I haven't experienced being an actor, but I've experienced being like a casting director
mhm,
looking and I wasn't like, oh, that's a bad actor. Because that's not what we're looking for that role.
mhm,
And I've been like in a time when I'm playing guitar for somebody and I was just not the right fit stylistic wise. That
mhm,
doesn't mean that I'm bad at what I do.
mhm,
You know, I have experience where I was chosen as a producer. Maybe they went with the wrong person,
mhm.
and I don't know.
Some
That's another story.
sometimes that does happen, and in most cases, like I do feel like, and this is one of the things that I kind of dislike about the industry a little bit. Um, I feel like a lot of times people nowadays they don't cast for talent anymore.
Mm,
I feel like they cast for looks and what looks good on camera, and that's one of the things that that doesn't really sit well with me a lot because um I put in a lot of work for my roles.
mm-hmm,
You know, I put in a lot of work and I love what it is I do. And if someone gets something because of what they look like, well, because of what they look like that's no shade to them at all. But how is that fair to someone who's been doing it for a long time?
mm,
You know, who has passion for the art. And I feel like I'm one of those artists that just has passion for it. That's gonna go the extra mile to do what it is that he has to do to bring the best out of that role, out of that character.
mm-hmm,
So, I feel like, and this is one of the things I love about Will Smith. He had James Avery behind him. I feel like a lot of people don't do what James Avery did for Will Smith anymore. I feel like it's just all about money now.
mm,
James Avery took a chance on Will Smith, and look at him now. He's probably the best actor in the world now. Someone took a chance. No one does that anymore. So I wish it was like that in some cases, but a lot of days it's just all about money. It's just all about just trying to get my stuff off of the ground. It's not about taking chances anymore and believing in somebody. It's all
mm,
about who's gonna make me the most money. Because at the
mm,
end of the day, I can care less about telling the story. I just want to see what I can make from it.
mm-hmm.
That's the thing I don't like that much. So,
Wow, a
mm,
lot to think there.
yeah.
There's a lot of good message there for
Mm,
creatives, actors, people who are starting out. When you, how did you feel when you started out? Were you scared? Were you, yeah? I mean, I don't know. When you're faced with making a choice that, of course, a lot of people will this, it's hard not to have fear, not to be fearful a little bit. Like, where's this gonna go? You know, when I've decided to like go off and do my own thing, and you're getting completely out of what you're used to, and you have to do your own things and like put your big boy suit on, you know.
Hmm.
But then you, what you said earlier, trust yourself, trust the process, and know that you were doing good. And if you could do these things, then it should go somewhere, you know.
Hmm.
Like when I was at Berkeley, I was mainly doing my own things. I had side things, but I really believed in what I was passionate about, and that was mainly entertaining people. No matter what style I was doing, it was for entertaining.
Hmm.
So I'm a big energy guy. So
Hmm.
when I'm performing and I'm in a group, putting out energy, good juju, because I feel that shoot. I mean, it comes back around, you know.
Hmm.
And then for a while, I kind of left that kind of mindset for a good amount of years, and now I going back to it, and I feel like the reason why I wasn't there because I was afraid. I was afraid to face these things in the real world scenario. So I chose what was a little bit more safer, which turned out not to be safe.
Hmm.
Which was a big lesson on me because if you do these unsafe choices, which are actually what your heart wants, will eventually give you the bigger and better result. You just have
Hmm.
to continuously do it.
I would say when I first got into it, it was a me versus me moment.
Mm,
It was a me versus me moment. And the entire time I was doing it, like, are you good enough? Is someone gonna like you? Is someone gonna trust you to do this? Is someone gonna trust you to do that? Like, can you go far with this? Are you as great as you think you are?
mm,
I was in competition with myself the entire time because those were the questions that were going through my mind. What can come from this? Am I wasting my time? Am I
mm,
doing the right thing? Am I going in the right direction? Like, is it right that I get back into this? Because when I told people that, you know, like, hey, I'm thinking about getting back into acting again.
mm-hmm.
I think I should do it. My friends were encouraging me to get.
Weren't or were?
They were.
Were, okay.
They were
Okay. Good,
encouraging me to
good.
get back into it again. Like they were, because some of them saw me act in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Bro, you need to get back into acting again, man. Like I think you need to, bro, because you're amazing. Like you act even when you're not acting,
Mm-hmm.
you know." So I listened to that, and I was just like, I don't know what could come from it, and I might not make it in this, but I'm doomed if I never try. So when I first got into it, I was in competition with myself, and I was nervous a little bit. But as time progressed and the role started getting bigger, man, I promised, Danny, I was at an audition the other day. There were a lot of brilliant people in the room, and the casting director that was in there, like we had to audition in front of everybody
Whoa.
that was in there
Whoa.
auditioning. He got up and then he had asked, who's the Jordan actor in the room? Who's gonna go first?"
Oh, I read that on your page.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes.
No one got up, but I did.
I think that's courage.
I got up first. I got up first, and I was just like, I've been doing this for too long to be scared. When I got up and I did, and but because I come from stage,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not afraid to perform in front of people.
Mm.
I did it. I was confident. I wasn't nervous. I was dressed nice, and I did it. And that's when I knew, like, dang, like you really are getting some,
Mm.
yeah, you really are feeling yourself a bit. So yeah, that's just like me then versus me now. So different now. I'm more confident, and I believe in myself a lot more than I thought I did. And people believe it and they see it now.
Mm.
So Oscar's party the other night. the amount of love and recognition that I got, it felt amazing. It felt amazing, and that let me know like you've come far, and you're gonna go further.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's amazing.
mhm,
I loved hearing all your stories.
mhm,
You're a great storyteller, a great speaker,
mhm.
and I can tell, looking at your eyes, that you're very happy about what you're doing,
Oh yeah,
and you're very honest, very sincere. And I
mhm,
thank you so much for coming,
no problem.
talking to me, Tony Hale III.
You can
Right?
you can follow
Where?
me on Instagram.
There you go. That was gonna be my question, but what is your Instagram?
My Instagram is outrageous underscore hell. It's spelled OWT. You can also follow me on IMDb, and yeah, that's my social media.
There you go.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danny.
Give me a hug. Can I get a hug?
Most definitely, man.
There you go.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
for having
brother.
me.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you so much. And that was it, y'all, for today.